Recording. And what is this? I think I'm already launched the Zoom. Can somebody confirm you can hear me?
I can hear you.
Great, thank you. I'm not sure what that is. So I'm going to close it. And unfortunately, that closed my our college. I was in the class and then it disappeared and went to that screen, which I didn't want. And I went back and didn't go back. All right, there we go. Before we begin, are there any questions? Not hearing anything, so let's go ahead and begin. This is my syllabus. You can find it in Canvas. Let me go there now. If you come into Canvas, you'll first come and see something like this. Boy, I can't see that. And then click on your course. It'll be this one here. And then you'll get this, which I'm going to close because I've already got that open. And then you can scroll down under the general course information. Right there is the syllabus. I've got something to read. You should read that. Some student and technical help. Students, whenever they have a problem with Canvas website, especially with the lockdown browser, if you can't get the lockdown browser to work and you're trying to take the quiz, students often tell me what the problem is, and I can't do a thing for you. So I made this link here for getting technical help. And if you have trouble with the Canvas website or the lockdown browser, you should go to the ITS department and either put in a ticket or go to the tech hub and tell them what your problem is, and they can help you. I cannot help you with lockdown browser or mostly with the Canvas website. Obviously, I can help you with the website I've made, but if Canvas isn't working correctly, I can't help you. And then modifying your Canvas site so that if I send out a message, you'll get it immediately. There's a link for my YouTube site. All of the class meetings will be recorded. I guess I should make sure that's going on. Yes, I am recording. And I will then put them up on my YouTube website. So if you click there, it will initially say Firefox can't open this page. That's because you can't open it in in Canvas, but if you click there or there, it will then open the my YouTube website. Now, this term, we're going to be having 2 lecture classes, so make sure you come to the, what do I have it called? Actually, I think it's in Zoom. Let me stop the sharing and then I can maybe read it. Nope, I'm not seeing it here. I think this one is called lecture or micro lecture Monday, Wednesday. And then there will be a micro lecture lab, excuse me, micro lab Monday, Wednesday. And you guys should view those. People put in what do you call that? Text messages. I can't see these text messages when I'm sharing my screen, so I do not use the text messages. If you have a question, please ask in the class. You just need to mute your microphone. I've got it unmuted. Is that right? No, you need to unmute your microphone. I've got it muted. So, and then you can ask the question. So somebody's asked, are the lab meetings recorded as well as the lectures? And the answer is yes, but I will not be able to see any of the text messages. The only reason why I saw that is because I'm not sharing my screen now. And I did that because I was trying to remember what I've got this called, and I think it's called Micro Lecture Monday, Wednesday. All right, let me share my screen again. And you can see I can't see the text messages now. I didn't even know we had a text message. So I don't use the text messages, and please don't use them if you expect me to answer your question. It's not up all the way. There we go. So there will be a lot here, and just look for the right class. There's none here from this term. I'll have to maybe try and show you on Wednesday, and then I'll be able to show you at least 2. These are from last term. All right, let me get out of here. Come back to my website. There's a document I've got about Zoom, and then the Zoom meeting invite, which you've all gotten in the messages or email that I sent out. And obviously you're here, so you've seen this. Some biosafety information for students and physicians. This is more of importance when we were meeting in the lab, because when you come into a real microbiology lab, you're exposed to real microorganisms, and this is some biosafety information. There's some lockdown browser requirements. What are some requirements for using the Respondus lockdown browser? You have to use the Respondus lockdown browser for almost all of the quizzes and all of the exams that we'll have in the class. You cannot access the quizzes or exams unless you're using Respondus lockdown browser. It's a special web browser that locks you into the browser while you're taking the quiz. There's a link to textbook chapters. If you haven't gotten the textbook yet, the first 3 chapters are here, as well as the chapter summaries for all the other chapters. You will need eventually to buy the book, or rent the book, I guess you could do too. But if you don't have it, you can do the reading by coming to this for the first 3 chapters. And then there's a discussion. This was actually a student suggested improvement to the class that I make a link for students to just discuss different topics and then can talk to each other about the class. And it was a very good suggestion, and I decided to implement it. But generally, students don't use this student discussion. So I've made an extra credit assignment where I'm going to encourage students to use this discussion. And you're going to get one extra credit point if during the first 2 weeks you either ask a question somewhat related to microbiology or you answer a student question correctly. You may ask something like, can someone form a study group with me on Saturday in the afternoon? And I'll give you one extra credit question for that because that is related to this course. However, if you answer that, I'm not going to give you credit for that one. You have to answer a real microbiology question like something like, what is the, oh, I don't know. What is the real name of COVID-19? The scientific name of COVID-19. And if you answer that correctly, I would then give you the extra credit point. Any questions about that? So this is a web page I've made for you guys to just talk, ask questions, and then get a student answer. If you want an answer from me, please email me the question. I generally will not make comments in the student discussion unless I notice that an answer is incorrect, and then I will put in a correct answer. I guess I'm going to shut that down. All right. Moving down, we've got the avoiding plagiarism tutorial. You are required to take in the first week of this course and the plagiarism tutorial, which is a tutorial that the Clark Library has made, and then take the Plagie quiz by January 13th. I think you can take it up to 11:59 p.m. Let me make certain of that. Yeah, 11:59 p.m. This quiz will be covering the plagiarism tutorial. So you have to take the tutorial first, and then this quiz, you have to get 100% on this quiz, or else there's a 100-point infectious disease project, which I'll talk about later. If you don't get 100% on the plagie quiz, then you get 0 points on the infectious disease project instead of up to 100 points. However, this plagie quiz may be taken 7 different times, and they'll be the same questions, although the answers may shift their position, but they will be the same questions. So if you don't get it correct, you should simply take it again. Actually, I've never had a student not get 100% after taking it 2 times. I think that's all I need to talk about this. So this has to be taken by, I think, this Saturday. Can somebody confirm July 13th? Is that this Saturday? I don't know if this will work. There's another way I can go in. Can't read it, but looking for it, still can't read it. Yeah, 13th is this Saturday. You know, if you guys would provide an answer there, you could speed up things a little bit. Close that down. And there's a link about APA citation style, just to help you with the plagiarism tutorial and plagiarism quiz. And then you scroll down, we come into week 1 lecture. I've got an overview and the objectives of chapter 1. Excuse me. All of the quiz questions will come from the objectives. Chapter 1 is the objectives on my microbial world and you. And in chapter 1, we also cover a little bit of chapter 10. So I've got the chapter 10 objectives here too. Chapter 10, we're only going to cover a classification of microorganisms, which if you have the latest version of the textbook that's made specifically for Clark College, that'll be pages 264 to pages 272. That's the 3rd custom edition of tutorial. Anyways, there's the objectives there and the overview. And then for this lesson, I've got the chapter 1 study guide. It will be going over the same material I'll be giving in the chapter 1. I didn't open it, went that way. It'll be the same information that we cover in the lecture, but it will not be in a PowerPoint. It will be in a text format. So if you want notes, and you should be taking notes, you just want to add to my notes, you can actually print this out and then write in further information. Most people don't do that. They actually take their own lecture notes. And then after I'm done with the lecture, I will put up on the screen the PowerPoints. And then you can add to your notes when I've done that. But I'm not going to put up the PowerPoint now because I want you guys to take your own notes. It's well documented that students learn best from their own notes. So I require you to make your own notes. And I'm actually linking more work for myself, helping you try and learn this material. Any question about any of that? All right, there's the worksheet for lecture 1. On most of the lessons, as well as the lab, there will be a worksheet, which will be some questions that need to be answered generally by the end of the week in question. So that, once again, will be due January 13th, and you'll get 2.5 points if you answer all the questions correctly. Just go in there, show you what it's like. There are the questions here. Now, in the lecture worksheet, you only need to answer one question. And when you answer the question, do it in the order of the questions that the students are answering, meaning the first student should answer question number 1, and the first student should give the question and then give their answer. If you only give the answer, it'll be very confusing to other students what the heck you're answering. And so I require you for full credit to put in your question as well as your answer. And then the second student coming along will answer question number 2. Give the question and then the answers. And the third student will give question number 3. Now, if you don't like the question, like you don't like question number 3 because, I don't know, you don't know the answer or you don't want to look it up or something like that, you just skip it and then come back to the assignment at a later date. And some other student will answer question number 3. And let's say another student answers question number 4. And then you come back to it and you have question number 5. And then you can answer question number 5. Okay, so don't skip around because that makes it too difficult for students to figure out what question to answer. Answer the questions in the order they are in the worksheet. Any question about any of that? All right. So answer the questions in the order they are in the worksheet, as well as provide the question and the answer. And then if your answer is correct, you'll get full credit. And the idea is that you only need to answer one question. The other students in the class will answer the other questions. And then you can just write in their answer and you have the information. You might want to print this out and then write in your answers because it's a little easier to study from, but that's not required. You can, like I said, study from the answers and questions that the students provide. And then we have 2 extra credit assignments. You can send me an extra credit picture. I've learned that an easy way for me to learn your names is to see your picture in the grade book. And every time I grade an assignment and then mark your score, I'll see your picture and then I'll associate your picture with your name. That helps me learn your name. So you get 3 extra credit points for sending a picture of your face. If you don't have a digital picture that you can send to this assignment, then just ask somebody who has a phone to take a picture and then email it to you and then put it in for the assignment. And then the other extra credit assignment is an extra credit study sheet. Nope, that didn't open here. Probably because it's in my download. Yep, there it is. So this will be an Excel spreadsheet. You need to fill in at least 2 pages. One, you put in your daily schedule. So you're inputting your schedule. Like if you are sleeping at 7 a.m., you just say sleeping. And then you wake up at 8 a.m., you say, I don't know, get ready for morning. You make breakfast, get dressed, etc. You don't need to detail it. Just say, get up, get ready, something like that, or get breakfast. And then at 9 a.m., you, I don't know, take off to class, take off to work. And then from 9 a.m. till, let's say you're going to work, 5 p.m. you're at work. Well, let's say 4 p.m. because you're attending class. And then you leave for home, you get home at 5, and then at 5 you take the class. At 7, 5, I don't know what it is. Sometime 6:30, I think, we have the lab. And then that means you guys are going to be eating very late because you guys just got home. Um, And then at 9 p.m. you say dinner, clean up at 10, and then go to bed at 11, something like that. So you just put in your daily schedule on the first tab. Now on the next tab, you put in your time studying for microbiology, which on Monday, your day was entirely full, but on Tuesday, you're not going to work. And so you can say study all day. Obviously going to sleep at 7. Excuse me. I ate something that's causing me to burp for some reason. And then whatever time you go to bed, you put that in there. And then you say studying all day. Obviously, I'm just giving an example. Anyways, you put in your study times here. I won't mark you down, but if you're not studying what I feel is what an average student needs, I will comment that to you, but that's the only thing I'll do. Any question about that? Now, if your study time for week 1 will be the same as week 2, week 3, etc., just state that up here. But if it's different on week 2, then you need log 2, and then you put in the study schedule for week 2, and then log 3, the study schedule for week 3, and hopefully you don't need more than 3, but if you do, just make another tab. Any question about that? All right, if you make your study schedule and your daily schedule, you'll get 3 points for the daily schedule and 3 points for your study schedule. Any questions about that? All right. If you only turn in one tab, you only get 3 points. So I do want both your daily schedule and your study schedule. This is something that the lead of microbiology invented to help you guys just plan on having a routine study schedule. Where were we? And then in week 1, you have to take the PLAGE quiz. And I'll talk about the week 1 lab when we get to the lab in the lab session today. Any questions about the online course? I see a lot of emails. I haven't checked my emails today. Let me state that 2 students have told me that the calendar is not working correct for this class and was telling them that they were in the Tuesday, Thursday class. The calendar has gotten screwed up, so just ignore that portion of the calendar. Hopefully, when it tells you an assignment is due, generally they're due on Saturday, so it doesn't matter if you're in the Monday, Wednesday, or the Tuesday, Thursday. But you are in the correct class, and Canvas has you in the correct class. It's just that the Canvas catalog has gotten screwed up. And I think I know why that may have been. And hopefully the catalog will straighten itself out. In fact, it may have done that once the course started. I don't know. But I think why it might have gotten mixed up, the catalog is that for my Tuesday, Thursday lab classes, I wanted to merge the 2 labs into one lab site. Is that how you word it? And I accidentally put this class in the merge, and then I couldn't unmerge it. So I had to get the Canvas administrator to unmerge it. And that may have screwed up the catalog. And hopefully the catalog will correct itself. But if it does state you're in the Tuesday, Thursday class, just ignore it because you are in the correct class and Canvas knows you're in the correct class. You guys can't see that because I've got it turned off, but I can take a look in the People tab and see that you're in the correct class. Any questions about any of that? All right, if not, let's move on to the syllabus. I'm teaching a lot this term, but this is Biology 260 and 260L for the lab. The best way to contact me is to use the Canvas email. I'll be checking my Canvas email every Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, probably on Friday, and at least once on Saturday or Sunday, but not twice on Saturday and Sunday. So generally, I'll be checking my email, Canvas email, close to every other day. Every day, sorry about that, every day, except for Saturday and Sunday. If you send me email at jvolpe@clark.edu, I will eventually get it, but I get a lot of junk mail here. And so I'm not going to check this site more than twice a week. So if you want a quick answer, don't send it to jvolpe@clark.edu. Use the Canvas email. And I do have an office, but I'm not going to be coming into Clark because all my teaching is online this quarter. And for office hours, I suggest either arranging it online, setting it up by email, or we can meet during the lab after I'm done talking in the lab. Or if you want to be private, we can wait until the lab ends and all the other students log out. And that's just a good time to do it if you want it private. Or we can set it up a time. All right, the textbooks, materials, and other resources, I'll let you read that. I will say we have some optional texts. The optional texts are actually quite good. The photographic atlas for the microbiology lab shows you pictures of all of the microbiology tests that we will be using this term. And you can get them online. Oftentimes I do have pictures of them on my lab website, but not all of them. And then there's a microbiology coloring book. It helps you learn. And then the book, Get Ready for Microbiology. They're all good, but they're optional. And I believe the library sells them. Not library, the bookstore sells them. You should know the Canvas website, of course. The library has course reserve, including 3 copies of the textbook, 1 copy of the photographic atlas, and 2 copies of the Get Ready for Microbiology. You should be familiar with the Canvas website, and it's your responsibility to visit this website to access all of the necessary materials for this class. I'll let you read about the course description and the student course outcomes, course policies, and suggestions. If you're sick, contact me and I'll help you keep on track in the online class. You should contact me prior to when a due date occurs. If you contact me after the due date, I may or may not give you permission to turn in the assignment late. Obviously, you can always turn in an assignment late, but you'll get a late penalty. How you turn in an assignment late is you just email it to me, because once the due date passes and the until date passes, you cannot turn in an assignment in Canvas. But you can always turn in an assignment to me late by email up until finals week. During finals week, I no longer accept late assignments. Anyways, make arrangements for turning in the work if you're ill. And like I said, you should really contact me before the due date. Also, students always contact me after they miss a quiz. If you're going to miss a quiz, contact me before the quiz due date. And I'll try and make arrangements with you to take the quiz. Preparation for class, you should be prepared for class to improve your understanding. You should obviously read the material before the quiz and hopefully before the lesson. This class can be very busy, so you must read the lab modules before doing them. You must read the chapter assignments. You must do the homework also. And then review the material before exams. Attendance and participation, except for the very first lab, I'm not going to be taking attendance in this class. So it will not make a part of your grade. I should change that. But there is strong correlation between attendance, attitude, and the student's final grade. Students who attend the class or who watch the video religiously, meaning they're always watching the video online, and have a good attitude generally get a good grade. Students who have a poor attitude and do not watch the video, do not attend the class, generally get a poor grade. There are obviously exceptions, but generally that's been something that I've observed over the years. All quizzes will be assigned online. They must be taken by the assigned due date. All quizzes should be taken within 24 hours. This is to reduce the chance of cheating. Quizzes will be having the answers show about 2 or 3 days after the quiz has been taken. After the answers show, you may no longer take a quiz, even if you're sick. Once the answers show, you may not take that quiz. Any question about any of that? Can somebody confirm that somebody's there? I got participants.
Hello, I'm here.
All right, great. Thank you.
Hi, I'm here.
I'm here too.
All right.
I am too.
I'm here.
Thank you. I'll let you read about the wearing masks at Clark College, student responsibilities. You should pre-read the lab modules, assignment handouts, and bring them to the class or the lab on the appropriate dates. Obviously, if you can read them, since this class is online, you can just read them online and then bring them like in another web page or tab when we're talking about it. Know the due dates of assignments. They are listed in the syllabus and in Canvas, and they should also be in the catalog. Hopefully they will be listed correctly in this class in the catalog. If not, you're going to have to go by the syllabus and by Canvas. If you miss a class, it's your responsibility to find out what you have missed. You should keep all papers until the final grade is given. And then if there is a question, we can go through it together. You should abide by the student code of conduct, especially as it applies to academic, honesty issues. Cheating and plagiarism will, for example, not be allowed. And generally you'll get a 0 on that assignment if you cheat on that assignment or plagiarize with that assignment. Laboratory safety rules must be followed. We're not actually going to be in the lab, so everything we do is going to be online, but we will go over the lab safety rules. All interactions, including student to student, student to instructor, and instructor to student, should be cordial, businesslike, and professional. This includes all communications and emails. Everything should be phrased in a positive, non-confrontational, non-offensive language. We all must be respectful of each other, even if we strongly disagree. And I will have some responsibilities. I'll try and respond to Canvas emails within 48 hours. Clark EDU mails, I'll try and respond to within half a week. I will try to have all assignments graded within a week of the due date. Note that this does not apply to the big assignments. We have two, the infectious disease project and the lab report. That will not, I'm not going to guarantee when those are going to be done, but they will not be done within a week because it takes me a long time to do those assignments. And then there will be your labs will be graded 2 times. I will try and get the first grading done within 1 week. But the second grading, I'm not going to guarantee when it's going to be graded. I will grade the second grading of the lab whenever I have time. And it may be very late. Any question about any of that? All right. Course withdrawal, I'll let you read about that. Obviously, sometimes it's important because of life issues to withdraw from the class. But if you can, you should really try to drop the class by the first week, and then you won't have to pay for it. But if you need to withdraw the class, please do so, because otherwise I'll have to give you the grade that you have earned. And if you're not attending anymore, you'll probably get an F. Late assignments, there is a late penalty. There's a 25% penalty if you're late by 1 day. The penalty jumps up to 50% for the second day and all days afterwards. So turn in your assignments on time to not get the late penalty. I do not accept late assignments during finals week. I'm too busy during finals week. I'll let you read about student conduct. Generally, the only trouble I ever have really is plagiarism, and that is when two students are working together. I encourage you guys to work together, but when your study buddy comes up with an answer, you cannot simply use your study buddy's wording. If I notice the exact same wording, I will say, you two students plagiarized. I don't know which one, but you will both get a 0 on that part of the assignment, if not for the entire assignment. So what you should do, if you're using your study buddy's exact wording, is you should put it in quotes and then say who you got the quotation from. That is not plagiarizing. Another thing you can do is just change the wording so it's your own wording. Any questions about any of that? That's the only cheating I've seen, although I have seen some cheating on some quizzes, but I've sort of gotten rid of those quiz questions, so probably won't see much of that. I'll let you read about etiquette with Zoom, important college-wide student information, suggested study methods. Microbiology is going to be challenging because it introduces a whole lot of new vocabulary, many new concepts. You're going to be having several assignments due at the same time. You may feel stressed, especially in the middle of the term. This is normal, but many students also say that this is their most enjoyable class. To alleviate some of the stress, please understand the commitment you are about to undertake to take this class. To be successful, most students must set aside a sufficient amount of study time. Actually, I should say all students for that. What is sufficient will be an individual matter, but for most students, will need to spend an average of 2 hours for each hour of in-class time they spend. Our class normally takes 3 hours of lecture plus 4 hours of lab a week, or 7 hours total per week. Therefore, expect that most students will need to spend 14 hours outside of class plus the 7 hours in class per week in this class. If external responsibilities prevent you from spending sufficient time on this class, it may be wise to drop this class and take it during another quarter when you can spend more time on the class and then study, and then you'll do better. Any questions about any of that? I'll let you read about Clark College requiring graduates to comprehend fundamental principles, and comprehension requires the ability to understand information, translate it, interpret facts, predict consequences. To get a passing grade means that you have comprehended, not just memorized, fundamental microbiology principles. And exam questions may require comprehension. One way to improve your studying may be to determine what kind of learner you are. Are you a visual learner, an auditory learner, a reading, a writing, a kinesthetic learner, or a multimodal learner? You can find that out by coming to this website here. I can't highlight that for some reason. There we go. And here's a list of suggestions that may help you in studying effectively. Use where it works for you. First, take on manageable chunks of material. Only one section of a chapter at one point in time. Unless you're brilliant, trying to learn too much at once is usually counterproductive. Use concept or mind mapping. Be organized. You're going to have several concurrent assignments. You may feel lost without proper organization. Use 10 to 15 minutes before class to scan both the previous class notes as well as the upcoming notes. This will help you remember where we left off and get your mind in the proper mindset for the class to come. Come to class. That sounds simple, but many instructors, including yours, have noted a strong correlation between attendance and grades. Obviously, quizzes will be on material covered in the lecture. Listen in class. That sounds stupid, but when you're taking notes, just don't tune me out. You're so busy taking notes, you don't actually listen to what's being discussed. The work you do during the lecture will largely determine your success on the quizzes and the final. What you should do is take sketchy notes in class, and then sometime later, within 24 hours, go over your notes and fill in the details. You must do that within 24 hours because your short-term memory will only last 24 hours. So after 24 hours, you will no longer have short-term memory and you will not be able to fill in the details to the notes. So try and fill in the details as soon as possible after class. That will allow you to listen and think instead of just writing during class. And that way you can think about what we're talking about. The study method may even cut down your study time. You should also take notes, obviously, because if you were to simply just listen to the material I'm going over, you'll actually only learn 10% of the material. If you take notes, you will actually learn 20% of the material. It's thought that what you're doing is you're listening, so you're learning 10%, and then you're translating what you're hearing to another part of your brain to take notes, and that improves your learning by 2 times. So taking notes helps you learn the material. Now, 20% isn't enough, obviously, to learn for this class. So what you need to do after you've taken your notes is go over your notes. And how many times do you think you need to go over your notes before you learn the material? Close to 100%. Will you do it after one time? It's a yes or no, people. How many times do you think you need to go over your notes? There's been studies done on this.
3 times.
Way short. Anyone else want to guess? Think about it. When you're first trying to learn a piece on the piano, or you're an Olympic athlete, you're trying to learn a procedure, how many times do you have to go over it before you learn it?
12 times.
That's closer. The studies have always been done on middle school students. Don't ask me why. They always use middle school students, but they found that for students to learn the material, they actually have to go over it 20 times. Now, obviously, if you want to learn the material, and then you're an adult and you want to learn the material, you can learn it quicker than going over it 20 times. But you do need to have repetition before you will learn it close to 100%. Any questions about any of that? All right, so you hopefully will be taking notes, and then you'll be going over your notes throughout the term and certainly before the quizzes and the exams. And then you will learn the material. And then there's a visual study technique called concept mapping. You can find out that from these 2 websites. Let's move on to the grading. The plagiarism quiz is 20 points. There are 5 quizzes at 75 points each. However, you'll get to drop your lowest quiz. So the total quiz is 300 points. The worksheets in the lab will be for a total of 50 points. I think each lab, is it 5 points each? I think it's 5 points generally. There's the first 2, which is 2.5, but all the others I think are 5 points. The lecture worksheets are generally 1 per lecture for a total of 25 points. The identification of the unknown bacteria for 75 points. That's your lab report. The infectious disease research project, that's 100 points. The cumulative final exam is 150 points.
Real quick, I was wondering what you meant by the labs are graded twice. Do you grade them once and then do we get an option to redo questions if we got them wrong and then you grade it again, or?
Correct.
Okay,
Labs will be graded twice. The first time, you will get a grade. I figured out how to do that. And
okay,
if you're happy with that, you don't have to submit it again, but you may submit it again to get 100%. Obviously, if you get 100%, you don't need to, but if you didn't get 100% the first time, you may submit it again for up to 100%.
okay,
I'll
thank
tell
you.
you which questions are wrong. So the labs will be graded twice. All right, so there's the total points, 20 points for the plagiarism quiz. For the total quizzes, 300 points, you get to drop the lowest quiz. Lab assignments, 50 points, generally 10 at 5 points each. That's actually not quite correct. First two are 2.5 points. Identification of unknown, the lab report, 75 points. The infectious disease project, 100 points. Lecture worksheets, I think it's 10 at 2.5 points for 25 points. And then the final 150 points out of a grand total of 720 points. There will also be some extra credit assignments worth about 20 points. Your grade will be the points you earn out of 720. So if you get greater than 92%, you get an A in the class. If you get greater than 90%, you get an A minus. You get greater than 88%, you get a B plus. Greater than 82%, a B. Greater than 80%, a B minus. Greater than 78%, a C plus. A C greater than 70%. There is no C minus in this class. And then there's just a D, greater than 60%. Less than 60% would be an F. Note that the Canvas does have a grading scale which differs from this, so that the grade you see in Canvas, the letter grade, may be slightly incorrect, but I'll use this grading scale. Any question about that? All right, I'll let you read about question review and written corrections. Microscope use in the lab. We'll talk about that when the lab. Support services for students. You should take a look at that. We have a health center at Clark College. There are tutoring services, and I went and looked. There is a tutor this term for microbiology, and they have a office you can walk in and obviously meet your tutor. You have to go in when that tutor who covers microbiology is going to be there. And they do have online tutoring too. And then they have e-tutoring, which I think what they did was they've hired out etutoringonline.org to tutor you guys, but I'm not sure how that works. But you can either go online through Clark College and take the tutor, as well as e-tutoring online. Any question about any of that? Okay, you can read about accommodations. Reasonable accommodations are available for students with a disability. You should read about Canal Library, campus resources like the computer resources, important college-wide information. This is winter term. If Clark College closes, I am not going to close because we are teaching in this class online. The only time I would ever be closed is if the power goes out, or what am I trying to say? Zoom goes out or the internet goes out. I've never had Zoom go out, but the internet has occasionally gone out. Never had the power go out either, but hopefully that won't happen, especially during class. I'll let you read about safety and security, other services for students. You should read about that. Enrollment dates and deadlines. You can click on that and find out about that. One-stop assistance, I'm going to let you read about that. Reasonable accommodations for religion or conscience, I'll let you read about that. Camera on Zoom, important college-wide information, I'll let you read about that. Translational services. I have no idea how that even works, so I'll let you read about that. Non-discrimination policy, I'll let you read about that. School emergency procedures. I think I'm going to let you read about that also. Safety information for students and physicians. I'll talk about that in the lab. Words of advice and comfort. Sometimes it seems like your instructors are your enemies. It is true that we instructors must maintain standards so that we cannot always accommodate you. However, know that we want all of you to succeed and that one of the joys of teaching is interacting with our students, getting to know you, helping you achieve your academic goals. So if you have a problem, any complaint, or any concern, please come and discuss this with us. The earlier, the better. If you don't want to discuss it over Zoom, you can email it to me. Don't let it fester. Festering usually only makes things worse. I'll try and keep in mind that you could be under stress, and will try my best to make this class enjoyable and make this so that you'll be successful. Meaning I'll try and accommodate you if I can. I'm not going to say that I'm always going to accommodate you, but I will try. And let me add that somebody once did a study. This is several years old now, but it was still a good study. And they found that I was the instructor who had the best success rate in my students. And that's because I really do try to work with you and accommodate you. And then I also try and, well, help you in the class. So I have the least students who fail or drop or withdraw from the class. Any questions about any of that? So I can pat myself on the back, or you guys can pat myself on the back. And like I said, I really will try to work with you and make this class work for you. Lab and safety rules, you can read about that. We'll talk about that in the, no, you don't need to read about it. We'll talk about that in the lab. All right, and then the end of the syllabus, I got the tentative course schedule for winter 2024. On the first column, I've got the week and the days, the lecture topic exams in the second column, and then the laboratory topics in the third column. The week starts January 8th, which is a Monday, and that works for you guys. But for my Tuesday class, which is the 9th, they're going to be using the same schedule. Any questions about any of that? Excuse me, I'm still burping up something. All right, I do have some assignments in here, but recall that most lecture and lab assignments will be due the week that the chapter is. So the first lecture worksheet will be due on January 13th. And that is not shown on the schedule. I've got that down here that most, if not all lectures and labs have a worksheet that is due Saturday at 11:59 p.m. of the week of the lesson. And those dates are not shown on the schedule. All right, any question about the schedule? If not, let's move on to chapter 1. You know, there's something I need to talk about. We come back to here, go into the announcements. There are some announcement here, Clark College Resource of the Week, and I can't get this to work, but hopefully you guys can, because I don't remember my login password, but you can click on this link and it'll take you to the resource of the link. You need to put in your CTC link and then the password. And I know my CTC link, but I can't remember my password. So I can't go in and show you, but I can show you what it looks like. No, not that one. That one I want to shut down. That one I want to shut down too. Nope, I did want to keep that open, sorry. It will look something like this. Although they won't have week 9 and 10, obviously. They always do this in the start of the term. They only have week 1. They might soon have week 2, but week 2 might not even be there yet. And then they'll be on different topics. This is an old one. This is spring 2022, but like they have a penguin pantry. First message to class, information on Mesa, pantry and student grants, what to do to get a good grade. If you're interested in that, take a look at it. I made that for some things that are seen in high scoring students. All right, any question about any of that? Oh, we've got tutoring here too. Didn't remember that. If not, let's go on to lesson 1. Microbiology, chapter 1, the microbial world in you. And we'll also talk a little bit about chapter 10, the classification of microorganisms, page 272 to page 281, if it's chapter 10. The first slide is usually a slide giving you the major goals and a rough outline. You should know the terms. What's a microbe, a microorganism, a germ, a pathogenic organism, a parasitic organism? What's microbiota? What's an infectious disease? Emerging infectious disease? What's pasteurization? And what's Koch's postulates? In chapter 1, we'll also discuss a brief history of microbiology. And 3 will cover the importance of microbes. We'll begin talking about the importance of microbes in the nitrogen cycle. Let me see if I can blow this up. There we go. So you can say that nitrogen starts in the atmosphere. It can be fixed by bacteria and archaea to an organic compound within the bacteria, the archaea. When that organism dies, some of those organic compounds are converted into nitrate. Some of them can be used directly as an organic compound by plants and algae, but most of those organic compounds will be decomposed by bacteria and archaea and fungi into ammonia and ammonium ions. and that'll happen just in the soil. The ammonia, which will be most of the organic compounds, or the ammonium, can be used by plants and algae, but they don't really like it. You give too much ammonia to plants, it'll actually poison the plant. But they can use ammonia. The ammonia or the ammonium ions can be nitrified by bacteria and archaea into nitrite. The nitrite can be nitrified by bacteria into nitrate. Nitrate is the source of nitrogen that green plants and algae really like. So most of their nitrogen that they get comes from nitrate. Nitrate is NO3 with a negative charge. Nitrite is NO2 with a negative charge. Where's my mouse? So that's where green plants and algae get most of their nitrogen, from nitrate. And then when the green plant will be die, most of that will be broken down by decomposition, by bacteria and archaea, once again into ammonia and ammonium, which can be converted into nitrite, converted into nitrate, and then some nitrate can be denitrified into nitrogen gas and released into the atmosphere by bacteria and archaea. Any questions about any of that? So that's the nitrogen cycle, and then that starts the whole cycle again. The nitrogen can be fixed by bacteria and archaea into an organic compound. In this graph, wherever we have a red arrow, this step of the nitrogen cycle is happening because of a microbe, a microorganism. And as you can see, most of the steps in the nitrogen cycle are happening because of a microorganism. The only one that doesn't is really like ammonia being taken up by the plants, or nitrate taken up by the plants, or, well, the plants make organic compounds, which, oh, I went this way. I should have gone that way. Sorry. So the plants take up the nitrate, it goes that way and then that way. Any question about any of that? The importance of this is it's showing, though, that microbes are fundamental for the nitrogen cycle. Without microorganisms, nitrogen would accumulate in one spot in the planet Earth. Probably what would happen is either the organic compounds would just, all the nitrogen would have come here and would not ever decay, or I don't know what else, where probably there would be the logical place. So the reason why nitrogen moves around from place to place on the planet Earth and moves from one form to another is because of microorganisms. Any question about any of that? Microbes are also important in the rock eating business, where rocks are converted into soil. So microbes are important, breaking down rocks and forming of soil. Now, microbes are not the main way that soil does get made. Soil is mostly made by erosion from either the wind or the water. But some soil can be made from microbes actually digesting, eating the rocks. Any question about any of that? So microbes also are important in making the soil. Microbes are also important in the making of the Earth's atmosphere. If we look at the level of oxygen in the atmosphere of the planet Earth, currently at the present day, it's at 21%. But you go back in time, Earth's oxygen level decreases up until about 2.7 million years ago, when the oxygen level was actually 0% in the first 2 billion years of Earth's history. What happened right here to start the oxygen occurring in the Earth's atmosphere was microorganisms, which were photosynthetic, produced oxygen and then released oxygen in the Earth's atmosphere. When that happened, there's now oxygen in the Earth's atmosphere that stopped UV light from coming down to the land and killing off any plant that we're trying to grow. And because there's oxygen there, the UV light was stopped by ozone. And then green plants were able to evolve. And then green plants and microbes made oxygen on Earth, bringing the oxygen level up to the 21% we see today. So come on, mouse. Our highest oxygen level is about the present day, 21%. And half of that oxygen comes from green plants like the trees and your corn plant or the grass. But the other half of that 21% comes from oxygen made by microbes. So microbes are very important for oxygen first happening on the Earth and then up to the 21% of the oxygen today. Any question about any of that? Here we're seeing a sewage treatment plant. Obviously, people make the waste material in the water, like when you flush your toilet or send something down your sink in the water. And humans are obviously responsible for breaking down the waste, right? Like they built this facility here for taking the waste and then breaking it down, right? Anyone disagree? Anyone? Well, that's not correct. Humans do not break down the waste. What we do is we make this facility, but then the microorganisms break down the waste. So it's actually the microbes in this facility which are breaking down the waste. And the waste will be broken down into CO2 and water, most of it. Any question about any of that? Now, I've talked about microbes and microorganism. Generally, those two terms mean the same thing. So when I say microbe, I mean microorganism. And when I say microorganism, I mean microbe. There is one exception there, and that is me, myself. When I'm talking about a virus or a prion, I will call that a microbe. I don't call it a microorganism because a virus is not an organism. A virus or a prion is not a cell. So it's not an organism. So I don't even call it a microorganism, but I do call it a microbe. However, your textbook author will call it a microorganism. A microorganism or a microbe is something that's too small to be seen with the unaided eye. They're single-celled, many shapes and sizes. They include bacteria, archaea, yeast, molds, protozoans, some algae, viruses, and prions. These last two are special because they are not organisms. They are not cellular life forms, viruses and prions. Microorganisms or microbes are almost everywhere, so we can say that there is the ubiquity of microorganisms. They play beneficial roles in numerous processes, and they are numerically the most abundant life forms on the planet Earth. Any question about any of that? If not, I think I'm going to end it here. And come back at 6:30 for the lab. Let me make sure that's correct. Yes. All right, if there's no questions, I'm going to say goodbye. If I can figure out how to stop this. All right, goodbye.